Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time. Today, we're diving into Noam Chomsky's powerful work, Who Rules the World? Now, the book's title asks a pretty huge question, right? And, figuring out the answer is, well, it's absolutely crucial. Because these hidden structures of global power, they have very real consequences for all of us, affecting everything from our jobs to the health of the entire planet. So, who really holds the power? I mean, we usually think of governments and nations as the main players on the world stage. But Chomsky, he argues the real answer is way more complex, and it's often hidden in plain sight.
To really get to the heart of his argument, Chomsky actually takes us back to the 18th century economist Adam Smith. See, Smith identified this group he called the masters of mankind, basically the super wealthy merchants and manufacturers of his day. And what he saw was that these guys were the main architects of government policy, and they always designed it to serve their own interests first.
So Chomsky argues that today's masters are pretty much the modern version of that, a tiny, highly concentrated slice of economic power. We're talking multinational corporations, massive financial institutions, and the politicians who serve them. They're the ones designing the global system, from trade deals to international law, making sure the rules of the game benefit them above all, while keeping public influence to a minimum.
And what's the result of all this? Well, it creates this huge democratic gap. Chomsky points to studies showing that in places like the United States, whatever the economic elites want tends to become law. Meanwhile, the opinions of regular citizens, they have almost zero impact on policy. The system isn't broken, it's designed to work exactly this way. So how in the world do these powerful groups keep their grip on everything? Well, Chomsky kind of breaks down their playbook for us into a few key principles. Okay, so it really boils down to three main strategies. You control the story, you apply a completely different set of rules to yourself, and you make sure someone else pays the price. Let's break those down.
First up, it's all about controlling the narrative. See, the most powerful players get to set the terms of the entire conversation. They get to decide what we call terrorism, what counts as economic stability, and when an invasion is actually a humanitarian mission. When you control the story, you shape how everyone sees reality, and you limit what people even consider possible.
Next up, you've got this glaring double standard. The rules are applied in completely different ways depending on who you are. So when we intervene in another country, it's called self-defense. When they do it, oh, that's aggression. Critics in our country are just part of the debate, but critics in enemy states, they're hailed as courageous heroes. It's the exact same action, just judged in totally opposite ways.
And this third rule of power is, well, it's maybe the most devastating one. It's the idea of pushing the real human and environmental costs of your decisions onto somebody else. And usually that means the most vulnerable people on the planet.
And what are we talking about when we say costs? We're talking about harsh economic policies that crush developing nations. We're talking about the growing risk of nuclear war from constant military posturing, and of course, the rapid destruction of our environment. The powerful planners making these choices, they're kept safe and sound from the fallout, while the terrible consequences are felt by people far, far away, people they will never, ever have to meet.
To really get a handle on all this, Chomsky's analysis gives us this really powerful metaphor for understanding how this system actually works. I want you to picture a small group of decision makers. They're in a sealed-off control room, and they're not looking out a window at people. They're staring at screens filled with maps, economic data, and strategic models. For them, the world isn't really real. It's just an abstraction.
And this creates a huge disconnect. Inside the control room, everything's clean. Decisions are just rational calculations designed to protect elite interests. But outside, in the real world, that's where the fallout happens. That's where those decisions create poverty, fuel wars, and drive climate change. The operators are completely insulated from the damage they cause. They push a button, and the consequences just happen to someone else, somewhere else. So, why does all of this matter? Because what Chomsky's work does isn't just describe a system. It gives us a whole new lens to analyze global events for ourselves.
At its core, the book gives you this incredibly simple but powerful question to ask. Anytime you hear about a policy decision or see a major global event unfold, just look past all the official justifications and ask yourself, cui bono? Or, in plain English, who benefits from this?
And once you start asking that, everything changes. Suddenly, a military intervention isn't just about spreading democracy. A new trade agreement isn't just about free trade. You start to see the hidden interests at work. Whose power is being protected and whose bank account is getting bigger. And this reframes the whole idea of national security. Chomsky says that true security for the actual population, security from climate change, nuclear war, economic collapse, that often gets pushed to the side. The real priority is protecting the security of state power and the private interest it serves. So the question we're left with is, whose security are we really talking about?
For the full, long-form, deep dive into this book and its ideas, follow the link in the description.
If you enjoy these explainers, please subscribe and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.